All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So today we are going to be looking at the weed sector. So on the last video, I was definitely bullish. I got that a little wrong. Looks like I was a couple days early. I'll definitely go over why I got it wrong when I start this, right? Again, we learn from mistakes versus pretending they don't happen, right? Because goal is to not make that mistake again. But before we get into the details, what are we going to do on this video? The exact same thing we do all the time, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see how things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving average lines, the horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw, and then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, the RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. I say this often, 80% of the work is up here. This is the last 20% confirmation. It really is all about breaking moving averages, breaking some resistance lines, and then we're using these either to maybe 2 of them are both good and we want to pick between the 2, or hey, maybe it's a little iffy on this side and we'll use these down here. But really, you want some good things up here. So TLRY, first let's start with the last video, okay? I thought it was bullish, right? I see the break of the 8. This looks like a doji to me, and generally I say it, the day after the doji generally will give you the direction of how things want to go, right? It just really looked like the 8 was broken, and obviously it'd been a good while. There was a bit of a test, so it's not like it was a super long one, right? So in my head, we had been over the 8 for a little bit. We definitely failed the 200 there, and then I thought this was good enough to make our way up. Instead of what actually happened, and again, I was definitely wrong. It was not as good as I expected. What did happen though is we break the 8, don't quite make it to the 20, and then for lack of words, bounce off the 8. And that is important. You'll see me say that on a number of videos, right? We don't only want to break these lines, we actually want to use them as our bounce point back up. Because again, things aren't going to always go up. Obviously, if you're watching Bed Bath & Beyond right now, that one looks like things keep going up, right? But in the general stock world, things need to cool down. I often say, you know, a healthy cool down, right? You hear me say that often, right? And the way you healthy cool down, kind of like this in a little bit of a way too. You go up, you fail something, and then you bounce it. It'd be a little prettier if we didn't actually lose it, right? But again, I think you get the idea. Why does this look a lot better? Well, look, first off, if I was bullish here and then we fail it, look, I'm not making videos right after, right? But you can put a line right here. That's kind of what I would have done if we were making the video, right? And you see it right here. Once we break that last moment of positivity I had, it gets even better, right? Because now we've reconfirmed this, and there we go with 2 days, right? A quick 8% today, beautiful thing, right? And look, I say this often, if you're gonna break 2 lines in a single day with a single candle, I need good confirmation, and that right there is some good confirmation, right? Little scary, there were moments where it was like, nah, you know what, we're not, but nah, it went really big, and I remember close to what was my 12 o'clock, give or take. I remember kind of saying, no, not 12 o'clock, had to be way earlier than 12 o'clock. Nonetheless, I remember when it was only plus 2%, give or take, and as happy as I was to see it green, again, I needed the good confirmation, and clearly we get close to 10, right? 8% is a beautiful thing. So where are we now? First off, look, that red has pretty much filled, right? It really looks like 348. What's this 50 actually at? 349, let's just round off to 350, right? 350 definitely is gonna be the next big test, right? And if 350 breaks, there's a real good reason to believe we're gonna at least come here, because look, after this, red, and then on this side, green, right? So that should be an easy fill if this breaks. I'll be honest, I don't know if you're in already. Breaking 350, you know, I'm going to set an alert. That could be a place to average up if you want to try to ride that and continue from here, right? Just something to say. Obviously, if we can't get over the 2 lines, you know, what am I going to look for, right? I could see it hitting this and coming back down. All this down here, though, is really seeming bullish, and it makes it want me to believe we're actually going to break both lines. You hear me say it's hard to break 2 lines when they're relatively close together, but again, I love the 2 full candles. I love that both days the volume was over the 50 moving average. Obviously, I wish the volume was closer to 30 million than this 24 we see, right? I like it when volume keeps going up, but yeah, MACD's looking good. We're almost at the 0. RSI still all right. I wish it was still a little more upsloped, but yeah, this thing's only at 60. There's definitely plenty of momentum to break the 2, right? If this thing was at like 70 something, I really wouldn't think we'd break the 2, right? We would test, maybe drop, and then do it again. 63 is enough to drop us one more big candle and get us over it, right? So all I made the alert, but not the line. Sorry, let me do it right there. Let me actually put it right here, because I'm actually looking at the bottom of that candle. So it was 348. I remember saying that number. The 50 again is 349. Normally I don't put a line if it's this close to the moving average, but in all honesty, it's just the emphasis on this single, the lone green, right? Not that it's hard to miss it, right? Bunch of red, you're obviously going to see the green. But yeah, again, it seems like we'll break. We might break this. If we do, you should come to the 200. And there's really a good chance to believe we might pass the 200 a little bit. Again, just given this green, red, red, back to back. So really liking this daily for sure. Where are we on the weekly? So again, what does this actually come out to? 337. Okay, 337 does not look like a oh, does it? Is that what this number is? Oh, my cat's at the door. I'm sorry. Hold on. What are you doing? Let's get you out of here. Get out of here. Okay, sorry about that. So 337 looks like it might be a difficult number given the weekly, right? That's 2 moving averages right there. If it could break 337, again, I think that'll help with the momentum, but maybe that's going to suck up some of the momentum. We'll see, right? So I think this 340 is a little bit safer of a number than the $4. But yeah, if these two break, if you can break the 2, the 1 should at least get tested. That's what I see in my head. One last time, because I didn't really talk about it. Look, red is a nice green, but trust me, I get happier when we're over the 8 on the weekly, okay? Because that makes me believe things are going to be more sustainable, right? So you can see what happens here, right? Obviously, it looks great overall. For me, I like it a lot more really on this right here, because this is the one that gets us over the 8. Obviously, the 20 is right there, and sustainability, right? This one would be a single test, and then hopefully that gives us the ride basically to that 419 candle. But yeah, again, I still think a good amount of positivity on this. I just a little bit more from here, and we'll start to sincerely believe sustained uptrends are not that far away. And look how much I'm going to just zoom out real quick. All we've seen is sustained downtrend, okay? Little pops here and there, little pops that seem nice. It's been a while since the weekly has broken this 20. It's been almost just as long since we've broken this 50, right? So we made a test on the 50. If we can break these 2 and get here, we might start talking about the 100 as well. And that puts us really high up, right? So still a lot needs to happen, but we're at a place where, hey, maybe the lines are going to start going up. And it's slow. It takes a while, but that's kind of a good thing when you're on the upside, right? Because it's going to be slow to turn it back down. So sustained trading might not be far away. We're not quite there. But yeah, things look good to get us to 4 at this point. So that is TLRY. A little longer than I wanted to do, but again, talked about the mistake from last week and so on and so forth. So look, just like we talked about on TLRY, right? I'm going to put the line right there. Today actually closed over it, right? So I'm going to zoom in a bit. We gapped over the 8, broke the 20 only. And look, this day closes at 0.95. This one, you can already see it right here, is 0.96. So I don't even need the extra decimals. This thing actually got over this. Where are we on this one's bottom? Nice, we broke that as well. Okay, cool. Again, I'm liking the MACD. I'm liking the RSI. I just wish there was just a little bit more volume. Believe me there, right? But yeah, when was the lot? Yeah, just kind of almost the exact same chart as TLRY. Gotta believe we'll be coming up to at least this 116 to test the 50. Maybe this 112 will be a little bit of a test for these 2 greens right here. But yeah, you already see this line right here. So just 102 would be nice. From there, it's basically here. and then, you know, we'll see what happens up here. This is definitely a lower RSI than the other one, right? And again, MACD still close to 0. We just need some volume. That would be real nice. If we can get one of these little strings right here, that would do ACB well. Now just keep this in mind though. This, though it's only one line on the actual candle, we definitely broke 2, right? So I'm very much expecting to get right here to do what I call good confirmation, right? So under the 8, under the 8, under the 8, under the 8, magically over the 8 and the 20, right? I need follow through. So let's see if we can get that. But yeah, if we can get to 102, like I said, that makes me believe we'll get to this. And then there's just so much red that, hey, maybe we'll even get to this, right? So ACB is always a little bit slower. I do talk about that, but hey, you know, this is definitely a really bad weekly. Now, don't get me wrong. We just saw TLRY try to fill a bunch of red candles on the weekly. I'm saying it's bad because of how far we are from the green line, right? So TLRY is a little closer for me to believe sustainability is there. However, going from 96 cents to 106 doesn't seem like a lot, but literally a couple pennies will get you almost double-digit gains, right? So just keep that in mind, right? You were at 96 cents. Less than 10 cents is 10%, right? So it's a nice movement up for sure. So what's this line? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to draw any new lines because, again, just as I made this one, you can see that pretty much hits there. And then, you know, we're kind of filling pretty much all the way to here, right? And we already have this line. So I think I'm good here. No need to delete any lines. And then no real need to make one. I'm just going to make this because I did talk about it, right? And again, I like that we broke it today. I like that we broke the 20 today. Give me a little more volume, right? Get us a little closer to 10, 11 million. That'd be beautiful, right? Get us 12 million. That'd be even better, right? But so far, 2 for 2, and I'll take it. OGI, hey, I like this a lot, okay? So we definitely break 2 moving averages on this day, right? But not only that, we were actually over the 8 that whole time. So nothing was actually even broken. And what did we do? The thing I talked about on TLRY, right? You break the 8, you fail the 20, and then you bounce off the 8 that you just captured. That right there is, I mean, I love moving average theory. I'm going to make a video on why I love moving average theory. That's one of my next like knowledge center videos. But that's textbook for lack of words. And look, this is a real nice doji. This really could gap up here and do, look, I mean, just so much red right there. We're over this. We have to be, right? Yeah, we are over that. So, damn. I say damn because my money's tied up right now. But man, there's a lot of red to fill to almost quickly get us to this 106 number. Tomorrow's going to be big, and honestly, I'm almost expecting it to gap up to 96 cents. I have no idea what this looks like after hours. We do only look at regular hour candles when we do these videos. It's definitely intentional too, but man, that's a real pretty doji. After this day, after the bounce on the 8, the recapture of the, not even the recapture, the first capture, right? Because this closes under, this starts over but fails, this starts over but fails, this starts under but gets over, right? So it's all about the end of the day, not the beginning of the middle, right? So yeah, again, I'm way bullish on this, and look at how much volume today was, right? Definitely some people weren't sure, right? A couple people thought, hey, we actually might break the 50 today. A couple people thought, whoa, why did we make this magical jump, right? But end of the day, back in this doji, I love that we closed over that line. Yeah, a lot of reason to believe we're just literally going to gap these 2 or maybe just break them in 1. But red really can turn into a quick move to the 200. This one looks real nice. Look, where are we? Similar to TLRY, right? I'm still not at a, excuse me, I'm still not at a place where I believe this is sustainable. All we've been doing is trading under this 20, right? The tests are getting better, which I like, right? When was the last time we even tested the 50? That was the real first test of the 50, right? And that's good. We no longer do this. It's now about this test, right? So, hey, maybe we actually can capture it and make another attempt here, right? So RSI still low on the weekly, so there might be some good weeks. And daily is actually still pretty low too, right? It's definitely nowhere near the 70s, let alone the 60s, right? It's definitely high 50s. So OGI, beautiful chart, actually. I love it. Hexo, where is Hexo? Damn, man, and I think I saw an alert. You can tell that I'm watching this one for the first time because I remember talking about this, right? There's nothing but down. Bad things happen under the 8. It starts to go horizontal. I was bullish last week too. Clearly didn't happen. And just like I said, once it broke that line, 118 would have been a nice entry point. You know what I mean? And once it broke 118, it was a very nice fill. Today did break the 20. Man, a lot of red and a lot of reason to believe this actually might come up to 2. Okay. Now, I am not a fan of this stock because of the reverse split, okay? So in the back of my head, there's still this thing reverse split not too long ago. People might quickly forget if it flies, but you know, I'm still gonna hold that like little pessimism in my head because of that. Aside, there's a lot of reason to believe we're running a 2. Really, there's a lot of reason to believe we're running a 222, actually. So, but yeah, test of the 50 seems like a safe place to put, to put something at. But yeah, if tomorrow literally just can open at 131, yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to set an alert here. I don't even know if I'm going to have any money to move tomorrow, but yeah, nice. Not too bad. Hexo, interesting. Again, I'll be honest, like I said with that reverse split, but there's some interesting room here. And look, volume the last 2 days has been over the 50 moving average, right? Which I do like. Obviously, that's a real nice RSI, still sub 60, getting real close to MACD 0. Yeah, there's a lot of good to believe here. Excuse me, same thing that we saw with TLRY, right? A lot of red to fill, still under this. So, I mean, I'm still going to be a little hesitant in terms of what's actually sustainable. But look at what the 222 number is. It's actually the 20 on the weekly. And I mean, look how long it's been since we've been over the 20 on the weekly. That 222 could be a pretty magical number for the Hexo stock. So keep that in the back of your pocket. But yeah, a lot of positivity here. This is actually a very pretty chart. I'm gonna have to man, OGI in this one, interesting. CNFFN. Again, I live in the US. This is a Canadian stock. Because of that, I have to use the 5-letter pink over-the-counter equivalent, okay? So where is this? First and foremost, again, the Canadian ticker might be getting better volume. This thing is definitely a 200K, give or take, stock for at least the last bit, right? Definitely moving horizontal with the 8, which is way better than at least moving under, right? So hasn't made a real good move on this 20 yet. But yeah, if it could break the 20, it's kind of the same thing we just talked about with Hexo, right? There's a real good chance to believe this thing might go from 7 something to 10, give or take, right? Because look, this is a nice little gap fill. This is pretty much that next resistance. You can see why. And then there's another little gap fill. That'll bring us to here, which is this little test. And then there's another little fill right there, right? So if the conditions hit well, this might move up. And honestly, it might look a little better on the Canadian stock if you are on that side, right? But yeah, this thing could definitely use some volume. This thing definitely, there's no guarantee it's going to break the 20. We've seen it on so many stocks, right, where the 20 is difficult. It looks like, though, there's been moments where we've actually not even just broken the 20, but actually broken the 50 and onward, made this test at the 200, right? So at least it hasn't been a forever thing, but couple better daily charts. I think that's really easy to say. I think the fact that I'm looking at the pink counter might make this a little swayed, but yeah, again, at the very minimum, you can tell. Look, again, very minimum, you can tell, right? Bunch of reds. This is starting to horizontal. Hey, maybe it'll end up greening out, but I really don't like how drastically these look to be going down. And then the MACD RSI and just really ugly volume, right? So maybe the fact that the weekly dumpings are slowing down at least could be good. Just need to turn them into green, right? We need some weeks where people are buying. But again, I think the fact that this one's a pink counter ticker might be something to definitely consider. But I'm not necessarily going to say this is the one bad out of the 5 that we're on now. I still think the 4 before this makes me really optimistic. I think the fact that OGI and HEXO look like silly good, for lack of words, right? Obviously, this is not financial advice. You for sure know that because you're watching this. But, I'm still bullish overall on the sector. CURLF. One more time, CURLF, Canadian ticker. I have to look at the 5-letter pink over the counter, right? Almost identical chart, I would say, right? Big things will happen if it could break the 20. I like the fact that there was a little bit better of a test on the 20 that we saw with TrueLeaf, right? This one actually opened above it, clearly failed it pretty hard, but hey, at least it made an attempt on the line. That's a nasty cluster of 3, right? So it's going to be pretty hard to break this, what, 575? Yeah, right? That might be pretty hard to break, but yeah, if it could break the 20, there's a lot of room right there, right? So could be interesting. And again, I think the actual Canadian ticker might look a little better. Interesting, right? Because this was a bunch of reds on TrueLeaf, but really it's kind of the same shape overall, right? It actually still kind of keeps going down despite the fact that they actually close better by the end of the week, right? Nonetheless, same kind of bad MACD RSI and not fantastic volume. So again, I'm not putting these two in the back of my head as, oh man, now the sector's starting to sway, right? I think as we go back to the US major market tickers, we'll kind of see how the sector looks, right? Okay, MSOS. Now, again, you got to remember that this one's an ETF combined of a few, right? So this one's generally going to move a little slower because it needs the other ones to do their good run so that as a whole, it does a good run, right? So I'm by no means surprised that this is slowing down, even though we've kind of seen a couple nice candles on a few of these, right? And let's be honest, if OGI runs as we expect, kind of same with TLRY and ACB, you can expect this one to make a nice run too, right? But this one's definitely not going to make a move up until a bunch of them do, right? So just keep that in mind. Don't feel disappointed that a bunch of other ones are uptrending and this one isn't, right? That's what an ETF is, right? That said, look, it's kind of what we've said earlier. Bad things happen under the 8. I'll take horizontal, right? Looked like it went up, definitely kind of came down. Looks like it's kind of back, almost a TLRY look. But yeah, obviously just get us over this 718. I'm even going to go ahead and draw a line and probably set an alert for this right here. If we can get over that line, that would be beautiful because that line would get us over the 20 and would kind of start what looks like a pretty good gap fill up, right? So I could even move this down here to this 824. I think that's going to be a little bit bigger of a resistance than the actual top of it. So I think I right-clicked accidentally. Sorry about that. So I did move that down right there. But yeah, again, break that, should run to there. Break that, should run to there, right? Kind of like we talk about all the time. Just not a lot of volume. But again, if the others do well, this will follow. It's just that that's how ETFs work. And then we've kind of seen this L on the weekly a few times already. So not too much to talk about. But yeah, just see how they play out. Okay, beautiful. Gotta love this chart, right? Why do we love it? Because it's almost the same thing we've said about other ones, right? Once it broke this one, the day that I was bullish, give or take, or at least the biggest green candle near it, once it broke that, boom, good full candle behind it. Bunch of red candles, right? Reason to believe we're at least coming to 291. If we can break 291, this is obviously going to be a real tight resistance, right? This 311 is a real tight 2 cluster. However, you see it, right? I hope the repetition is actually a good thing for you, right? You hear it a bunch of times, it gets engraved in your head, right? It happened to me, I'm telling you. But yeah, we definitely... yeah, I mean, there's not too much more to say, right? I think you caught it. So let's check out the weekly real quick. Okay, cool. This one's definitely making its way up. Some good stuff to fill. One more time. All feel like sustainable trading is real once we're over the 8 on the weekly and we start making our way over, right? We're still, working on this 20. We're kind of starting to go horizontal on this 20, right? You see it oscillate through the 20. I don't know if it's going to need to come steeper before it goes, sorry, not steeper, like a tighter oscillation before it flies. But yeah, we're now going from really bad 20 to horizontal 20 to hopefully break the 50 and start using the 8 and the 20 as support on the weekly, right? And that's when you get some good trading because this is just failing on them all the way down. Soon it should be, You remember those days. I remember those days. I know you remember those days. That's why we're still watching these videos, right? So, yeah. Again, CGC still looking good. I'm loving it. Should crack 3, right? Hopefully crack 3 at least if this 290 is not that hard. CRON. Again, I like keeping CGC and CRON together. Oh, interesting. Okay, so CGC does look better than CRON. Again, if we can break, and look, you see it, this 259 is pretty much right on the 20, right? If we can break this, it'll be a good first time over the 20. At the very minimum, right, you see it. Bad things under the 8 start going horizontal here. Hopefully we go up. These three lines seem like it might be difficult, so somewhere give or take around that $3 range seems like a fair target for this, right? Definitely like CGC a little bit better, right? The fact that this is 2, I'm okay with, right? But yeah, definitely this is over the 8, over the 20. 8 starting to make its way up. That's definitely a golden cross. I haven't said golden cross a couple. I'm sure there were other golden crosses that I probably should have referenced. But yeah, CRON not as good, but you know, it's there. Yeah, look, again, I think this 259 is going to be the magic number for CRON. I really probably wouldn't touch this thing until we get over it. And really, it looks like it could go a little higher, yeah, to 260. Boom. Again, I normally don't go for perfection, right? So I kind of feel a little silly that I moved it up 1 penny. This obviously is not financial advice. You know that, right? But 260 is a better number because, like I said, it's the top of that candle. So that is CRON. So this one's new to the list. High Tide, okay? HITI. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know this one very well. This one, I don't know how new it is. We'll see that on the weekly, right? But I had a couple different people ask me about it, which, you know, when a couple people are asking about a stock, I guess it's well worth noting, right? So what's happening, we're sitting in a super tight channel, right? Super, super tight channel, literally all 4 out of the 5 lines with the other one up here. If we can break the 50 at 156, there's a lot of reason to believe it'll just rocket ship up to 200, right? Because a whole mess of red. Maybe we'll start getting a little resistance around this 180 number, give or take. But yeah, I mean, if it can get to this 180, it should at least, I would say, test this line. On the weekly is where I'll start making some lines, right? But obviously it's the complete opposite. If we lose the 20, very bad things will happen, right? If you lose that 149, there's at least a good belief you're going to come down to this 132, if not worse, right? We'll check out the weekly real quick. But hey, this weekly doesn't look that bad, right? It's not great just yet, but definitely well under the 8, definitely goes horizontal and actually tries to break it. Definitely under the 8 for a number of weeks, right? But it's at least not giving up the 20. That said, I think, you know, it's going to have to do something soon. Hopefully the rest of the tickers doing well will, you know, help this thing. But honestly, if you've watched enough of my videos, you know I hate trading in this. Because this really is like a tornado, okay? You just really don't know if it's going to throw you up or down, but wherever it throws you, it's going to be pretty violent, right? If you're a gambler and you want to say, hey, every other weed stock has been good, that's why we do these sector videos, right? To see if like the sector itself will give enough strength to just, you know, pass whatever it maybe wouldn't have if the sector wasn't as good, right? But if you're a believer, hey, maybe you make an entry entering it. Again, I'm not going to touch this thing. I'll even do it at 150. I probably should have even, yeah, I'll do it at 160. Let's just go up to the whole number. But get me well over this 50, and I'm far more interested in trading that, maybe to that, than I am trying to guess which way it's going to violently go up or down, right? So I hate horizontal clusters. However, they always get my eyes and my attention because I know something interesting is about to happen, right? So yeah, I would wait here. Let me make some lines on the weekly like I said I would. Man, this is super tight. So let me actually zoom out. Is this all tight? So it's not. Okay. So I'm going to just kind of zoom out lines and then we'll probably tighten them up in a second. But that's definitely, yeah, that's actually a pretty good line right there. It pretty much hits the bottom of that, most of those. And then from there, we're just going to use the top of that guy. So that, and I think 137 was that number that I gave. So, and then I don't even think I need to draw very many lines up here. Yeah, we'll do that line. Okay, so one more time. Let me come to the daily. And then what number was this? 139. Okay, I'm going to keep what I did. I like it because, again, we're not here for perfection, right? If the 50 breaks, there's a real good belief we're going to come up to roughly 190, if not actually past $2 to hit this 204 line. 203, you just saw it in the box. If we lose the 20 and fall down from the cluster, really the first place that's going to catch it should be this, either that 139 at the bottom of this or this 137 rough line that I drew from that zoomed out weekly, right? After that, again, you just, oh man, I should have just stayed on the thing. After that, there's a lot of reason to believe it comes down to 107. Okay, so just be careful here. Again, I'm going to be happier once we're over the 8 on the weekly. I'm at least glad we haven't given up on this 20 on the weekly, right? But it's definitely been a number of weeks under the 8. So spent a little extra time on this because this one's a new one. And then I guess just the last thing, 140 volume is not a lot, right? I want 140 million, right? I want 3 million. Shit, I'll even take, sorry to curse, I try not to curse on these. I'll even take 500K, right? But it's also a little low volume relative to the rest. But again, sector so far is looking good. I'm going to put high tide with those 2 Canadian tickers because I don't think this, first of all, this horizontal is not good or bad, right? So by no means is it like bring it down. It's obviously not as positive as the rest, but I'm still sector positive for sure. So Sandal, again, love it. Breaks this line, right? That was the highest candle of our last bullishness. Beautiful full candle after it. A bunch of red right there. A lot of reason to believe we'll come to the 100 and the 50. Again, I had said this last week. I really thought it would have made that move here, especially on this, right? I mean, just look at it. Nice break of the 8. Definitely doesn't fail the 8. Monster candle after. I'm going to go bullish right there, right? The RSI was starting to peak up. Sadly, it did come down a little bit, never loses the 8 and then gets that full momentum, right? But again, just kind of talking about the mistake I made from last week. Happy to see that it at least didn't, you know, S the brick. I'm going to say shit the brick, whatever. All right, it didn't go down, right? It just maintained the 8, which is the game of moving averages, right? Use these lines as your support versus these like incredible resistances that all they do is just move down and kill you, right? So, but yeah, if we can, and look, actually on that zoom out, you can see it, right? There have been moments where we've already tested and tried to break the 50. We've already tried to test and break the 100. Not quite a 200 break, but that's not bad, right? So that gives me a little more confidence that, hey, we can actually maybe get over these 2 lines, right? And make a true attempt at this 323 line up here, right? Or whatever this, what's the 200 at 320, right? RSI is definitely not too low, so definitely good momentum to get us through here. And yeah, there's maybe this is a little thick. I could see this like 270 range maybe being a little difficult, but yeah, at least immediately that could get lost in this cluster of red and just fly on up. So I'm still bullish as I was last week on Sandal, just a little sad that it didn't hit as quickly. This is going to be an important test right here, 240, right? Let me see if 240 is anything on that. So 240 doesn't scream. Is that 240? That is 240. Okay, cool. That's the 50 moving average, so there's no surprises. But yeah, if we can break these 2, again, you can see it. It's been a good while since we've been under these. There's definitely been tests when we've been over, and actually over both the 50 and the 100, right? You can see it does break. Obviously, it's not good enough for confirmation and continuation, but the fact that we've been there before, not that long ago, relatively, right? That does make me happy. So yeah, if we can break these, we hopefully will make another nice test that, like I said, I think 323 is a decent target here, but it's all going to start immediately if we can break these, right? So Sandal, I'm still bullish here. GNLN, okay, not too shabby. So, ooh, man, I actually did not see this happen at all. Nice. So this one, I think I was bullish last week. I mean, I'll be honest, I do not trade this one, right? I know on the last video, I talked about all this red being another little gap fill that could be well worth filling. And you can see that's actually pretty much happened, right? It went from, roughly speaking, less than 30 to 39. I'm just going to even use this window. I mean, that's a beautiful little percentage right there, right? So super happy if you're actually able to make this up right now. Actually, still looks like there's still room for it to go up, right? What's this candle? Are you the 50? Okay. So yeah, there's at least reason to believe we might test 43 tomorrow, right? MACD's getting close to 0. This is actually a really beautiful RSI right here. A little higher than the rest, and again, I think that's why it goes back to, I think we might test this. I'm just not too sure if we'll break this, right? But yeah, and then if you look here, I had to zoom in, right? But you can see there's a lot more buying on this bad boy. So not too shabby, Green Lane. I know a lot of my viewers actually sincerely love this. I can tell they love this stock with a passion. I would be way more interested in trading this, but look, I'm seeing a golden cross right here, right? We did break when a lower one breaks above a big one. That's a good thing. It'd be interesting if this. I still have alerts up here. I think I'm gonna just smile. I don't know if you can't see my face obviously, but I am smiling as I'm saying this. But hey, interesting. Oh, that kind of gives us a different perspective. 40 cents would actually put this over the green on the weekly. That's interesting. That actually is, because 40 cents. I mean, 40 cents to this is not an amazing ride. It's actually almost 10%. That's, you know, I like my 10%, but if you're in, watch 40 cents and watch how this reacts to 40 cents. And then obviously, if 43 breaks with, I mean, enough force, we might start talking about this, right? So again, I care a little bit more about the 50s, but that's just because I'm a little more conservative, right? I don't know this stock well, and honestly, I don't look at this one well. But like I said, I know I got a lot of fans on this one, so I'm super happy for you. UGRO, okay, again, this one has super low volume, okay? This one was pretty ugly for a quick minute. Obviously, you can see a little oscillation on the 8. Today was big, right? Because you get two, and honestly, they all kind of broke that like last high candle, right? So this one's not as red, but just technically speaking, if we actually did take the 20, there's a lot of good reason to believe that we're coming all the way up to this 150 right here, right? Give or take 375. I think that could be a good number here, but not as red as I'd like. Super low volume, and you can see it on the minute, right? Look at this thing. There's only really a couple movements that actually make this thing go up, right? So if any silly selling happens, you might get real stuck, right? So I'm not a big fan when the minute charts look like that. However, there's some technical plays kind of happening here, right? So what's the weekly look like real quick? Yeah, again, we've seen a number of downtrends kind of turn up, right? That L, backwards J kind of thing. Let me go back to the daily to not confuse myself. We've got 2 left if you're still in this. Nope. GRWG. Okay, where are we? A whole mess of red happens right after this line that we broke. Okay, so that's super nice to see. That said, bunch of moving averages just super tight right here, right? So just depending on your risk tolerance, honestly, I personally would be way more excited at 525, because that'll put us over all these lines, right? That said, kind of the same thing, right? We at least broke the 8 and went horizontal with it, and are now making our way up and break the 20 for the first time, right? 100's a little too close for comfort, but yeah, if it breaks the 100, that could be a good propel to right here at least, right? There's definitely some percentages here, but I like it from here up because, again, that gets you over the moving averages, still a bunch of red. And look, this is a pretty low RSI. So we've got some room to make some moves, and then, you know, hopefully that doesn't take us too much higher than like 68 or 70, right? Give or take. I do not know the math behind the RSI. I just kind of try to guess what the number will look like after a good run. So that's how I do not know the math behind this. And one more time, for sure. And I don't care. I'm not going to lie to you. That's not something I'm trying to put my time into. Again, same backwards J thing, right? It's kind of a little more L than the curve up. But yeah, if we can break the 20, good reason to believe we'll come up here. And that kind of looks like that same range that we had here. So. And then last but not least, HYFM, Hydro Farm. Cool. Today was important. Today got us over the 8 for the first time in a good while, right? Definitely would like one more day, but it kind of seems like we're starting this gap fill up, right? It doesn't really seem that monstrous, but yeah, we pretty much actually filled this all the way to the first candle. So all eyes are going to be on the 20 tomorrow, right? The good thing kind of is the fact that we didn't break 2 in a single day. So even if we get just a little baby candle right here at that 156, I'll take it. Good enough for me to say, hey, we're over the 8 one more day. We actually got over the 20. And then if we can really just get over 164, right? 164 would be a way better confirmation, obviously. But yeah, after 164, there's a lot of fill. And I'll be honest, I think I would put my alert at 164. That's where I'd like to see it. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right here as well. 163, whatever. Again, you can see the green peaking. That's a good RSI after what's been so horizontal and low for so long, and then back-to-back good days of volume, right? I obviously wish this day was just a little higher, right? But both were over the 50. I'll take that. So cool. What does the weekly look like real quick? Again, this hasn't really started the L or the J. It's just kind of, you know, first good week, right? But again, still ways away from sustainability, but some good trading. So look, I'll say this. It's been a great start to this year. It's been some nice trading, right? I still don't think we're at a place where things are super sustainable. I'm taking this uptrend as long as I can, right? So there's still a little pessimism in the back of my head, but yeah, I'm seeing good green candles. I'm seeing good MACDs, good RSIs, good volumes. We're making money while we can, and like a little squirrel, we're gonna put that aside and hold it while things get bad, right? So that's the general plan. Hey, if you've stayed this long, I sincerely appreciate your time, and I hope you're learning. Have a great one.